Hi, I'm John Davis, and this is Motor Week. We hit the open road in the all-new BMW 5 Series sedan. Then we'll static cling with DIY powder coating. We'll go on-site to a proving ground where only the most advanced vehicles need apply. Then it's off to the races in a Porsche 718 GT4 RS, now made even better. So come drive with us, next.
Motor Week, television's original automotive magazine.
Motor Week is proudly sponsored by Auto Value and Bumper to Bumper, a nationwide network of stores and shops providing major brand auto and truck parts and service from coast to coast and in your local community. Service is the difference. We get it. Learn more at autovalue.com and bumpertobumper.com.
TireRack.com is proud to support Motor Week.
And now, a very brief history of TireRack.com. First there was the wheel, then the tire.
We'll call it Tire Rack.
40 years later, we're not slowing down. TireRack.com.
A few months back, we took a look at the fully electric version of BMW's all-new 8th generation 5 Series sedan. But we know, and BMW knows, that not everyone is ready to jump on the fully electric bandwagon just yet. So BMW has wisely kept internal combustion engines as part of the 5 Series portfolio. And this week, we put one to the test. As we noted in our review of the BMW i5 full battery electric, BMW's current philosophy is to strive to build essentially the same car for both EVers and traditional ICErs. And while we love trying the former, we admit our predisposition for the latter. So we couldn't wait to deep dive into this very internal combustion 2024 BMW 530i xDrive to see how it measures up with its kilowatt design mate. Tucked into 530i's engine bay is a familiar-looking 2-liter i4 turbo, now rated for 255 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque. That's 7 horsepower and 38 pound-feet over last year's 2-liter. The 540i's 3-liter 6-cylinder gets an even bigger increase, up 40 horsepower to 375. Both work with an 8-speed automatic transmission, with xDrive all-wheel drive standard in the 540i, optional in the 530i. Our 530i tester was indeed sending power to all 4 wheels at our Mason-Dixon test track. It felt very composed off the line with a strong initial kick to get us to 60 in 6 seconds flat. For the record, the i5 took 3.3 seconds for the same task. The 530i's urgency did taper off a little at that point, but then stayed incredibly consistent through the quarter, which ended in 14.4 seconds at 97 miles per hour, with automatic gear changes that were quick and smooth. BMW did include a Sport Boost function engaged by holding the left shift paddle. It doesn't add anything extra into the mix per se, but it does ensure that all the appropriate settings are in place for max acceleration. Our test drivers don't throw the word fantastic around often, and if so, it's usually about something exotic with 2 doors. But that's exactly how they describe the handling of this 530i. Remarkable balance, minimal body roll, quick turn-ins, all with phenomenal feedback that not only keeps you informed of everything that's happening, but makes you feel like you're an active partner in the process, not just along for the ride. True, we praise the i5 EV's handling too, but its roughly 1,000 pounds of extra weight did make it seem more routine and less reliant on driver input. The 530 exhibited great feel and results in our braking test too, stopping us from 60 and 100 feet with minimal nosedive, no drama, all very similar to the i5. No matter what BMW does with styling these days, it always seems to be controversial. We'll stay out of all that and just say that the new 5 Series looks great. Not as aggressive as the 3, not as stately as the 7, which is consistent with the 5's middle ground status. It does feature its own take on BMW's shark nose and modern kidney grille, accentuated here by the M Sport package's larger air intakes, side skirts, plentiful black trim, and optional 21-inch wheels. At 33 inches in length, the available Sky Lounge roof allows plenty of outside in. But the real highlight here is BMW's frameless curved display. It marries the 12.3-inch driver information screen with the 14.9-inch control display. Inputs can be made directly on the touchscreen or with an iDrive controller. Most of the minimal manual controls that do remain are touch sensitive, but there is a nice big volume dial that feels great to the touch. There is both wireless phone charging as well as plenty of places to make a physical connection, plus available Bowers & Wilkins surround sound and M Sport accents. This is BMW's latest leather-free option called Vaganza, and it's applied liberally on the dash, door panels, and of course the seats, which are exquisitely comfortable. The rear seat experience is every bit as special, with plenty of room, great comfort, and lots of features. No penalty for all-wheel drive, as all 530i's have government fuel economy ratings of 27 city, 35 highway, and 30 combined. We averaged a good 31.2 miles per gallon of premium. That's a slightly better than average energy impact score with use of 9.9 barrels of oil yearly and 4.8 tons of CO2 emissions. Pricing starts with a rear drive 530i at $58,895, about $9,000 less than an i5. Adding all-wheel drive takes the 530i to $61,195, with the 540i at $65,895. The entire 2024 BMW 5 Series was our recent Driver's Choice Award winner, primarily because it delivered more luxury and tech than ever before and did it without sacrificing the superior performance the 5 has long been known for. And then there's the two-pronged powertrain approach that lets you get pretty much the same driving experience whether you want to plug in or fill up. The fact that you can buy either one and feel like you made the right choice is what really makes the new 5 Series a winner, for us and for everyone. In the history of car development, proving grounds have played a crucial role in allowing car makers to validate a car's functionality, performance, and durability. But as we move into a new era of electrification, AI, and self-driving cars, the role of the proving ground is evolving as well. So come along as we peek behind the privacy fence at one test track that's building on the past to keep pace with the future. The American Center for Mobility is located adjacent to Ford's historic B-24 bomber factory at Willow Run Airport near Detroit, Michigan, and on the former site of GM's Ypsilanti transmission plant. The only remnants from that now are a few security posts and wide expanses of cracked pavement. But these reminders of bygone industry are exactly what's helping today's engineers perfect the cars and trucks of tomorrow. Like a typical proving ground, the 500-acre facility includes a 2-mile highway loop with exit ramps and road signage, a 700-foot tunnel, simulated urban areas, and 6-lane intersections. It's not a pristine environment with bumps, lumps, and weeds everywhere. But that's just how ACM's clients want it.
But cracked pavement, potholes, faded lane lines, in some cases you want to leave those as they are because that's what people encounter in the real world.
And as we soon found out, the testing that takes place here is far from typical.
Traditional proving ground is focused on testing the mechanical paces of a vehicle. So you think about ride and handling, NVH, durability. Ours is designed to test the sensing and situational awareness of a vehicle. What can it see and sense, and how does it make decisions, right? In terms of a computer replacing a human driver. So it's less tuned towards, like a high-speed oval, nice, perfectly paved track. It's really meant to throw challenges at the vehicle sensor.
Another ACM specialty is found inside the EV Base Camp, a unique test facility for electric vehicle charging equipment, set up through a grant from the federal government's Joint Office of Energy and Transportation. The goal here is to ensure that every EV charger works every time with every kind of car.
But it's really a place that you can put a diversity of different DC fast chargers, and then have a place where the autos and others can come and test against those different fast chargers. So a place that you can check whether the car software talks to the charger software to make sure that they're interoperable. So even though you may have a standard, how people code on the vehicle side, how people code on the charger side, and then all the variables that come into play in the real world, when the charging happens, can cause interoperability issues.
Making this all possible is another leftover from the GM transmission plant, an on-site electric substation. And in the world of EV charger testing, power is the key to everything.
Why this substation is important to us is, we own the powerhouse that's on the end of it, makes us the utility on property. There's the ability to expand the capacity of that substation to 90 megawatts. And you'll find that a lot of people just don't have idle grid capacity that's sitting around, right? Even at large automotive companies, we've had some of them tell us, hey, we're maxed out on power. That power station will allow us to do extreme fast charging, to be able to host very large testing events, testing symposiums where there are 30 cars being tested at once against 30 different chargers.
Every new automotive technology needs to be tested and perfected before hitting the road for real. The research and validation being done here and now at the American Center for Mobility is enabling a safe and efficient driving future for all of us. A traditional paint finish has great protection, but it's not always the best for some automotive components, like those that really feel the heat. That's where powder coating comes in. It's durable, heat resistant, and looks great, and you can do it yourself. As Logan McComb shows us on Motor Week's Your Drive.
Personalizing your car can take many forms: aftermarket wheels, exhaust systems, engine tuning, and custom paint, upholstery, or graphics. One popular method is to powder coat brake calipers or various components under the hood, like turbos, air intake tubing, or even intercoolers. Powder coating provides a durable finish that won't scratch easily, stands up to heat, and gives a pop of color to an otherwise dull engine bay. The best part is you can do it yourself and get great results with a little bit of practice and not a lot of cash. Eastwood Tools offers this DIY powder coating kit, along with dozens of powder colors, all the accessories you'll need to get started. We're going to show you how easy this process can be. Like the name suggests, powder coating involves misting a fine colored powder over the part. The particles are electrostatically charged, and the part is grounded so the powder is actually attracted to the part, ensuring even coverage, then is baked in an oven to cure, which melts or flows the material into a hard, even finish. Prep work consists of removing all paint, rust, dust, and residue from the metal. Lucky for us, we found these vintage Tornado gas saver gizmos in our storage room. They were unpainted, clean, already just waiting for their next as seen on TV moment of glory. You'll need an air compressor and electrical outlet to operate the powder gun. It's critical that your air supply is free of water, oils, and contaminants. So an inline filter like this, placed close to the tool, is ideal. You'll also need an air pressure regulator and dial it all the way back to 8 psi. Activate the electric charge on the gun, blow the powder onto the part, getting it into all the cracks and corners. Then pop it into a 400-degree electric oven, not gas. Don't use your mom's oven at home. The fumes are slightly toxic and will definitely ruin her next batch of brownies. Cure the part for 20 minutes, let it cool before you touch it, and voila, you've baked a fresh new look for your ride. If you have any questions or comments, hit us up right here at Motor Week.
Let's go on the record with Stephanie Hart for this week's Motor News.
Our first news comes from Sweden, where Volvo just revealed the latest XC90 utility. Arriving for 2025, the new XC90 retains its mild hybrid and plug-in hybrid offerings. Revised suspension is said to improve comfort and control with air suspension optional. Inside, a newly designed instrument panel includes a larger, crisper 11.2-inch infotainment screen. The new front cabin mirrors Volvo's electric portfolio, as does the more contemporary exterior. Corvette made waves this summer with the return of the outrageous Corvette ZR1. Under the C8's rear deck is a twin-turbocharged 5.5-liter flat-plane V8, producing an astonishing 1,064 horsepower and 828 pound-feet of torque. Extensive aerodynamics keep things planted, and the split rear window serves as both a heat extractor and a callback to the C2 generation. Entering production next year, the ZR1 is set to be the most powerful and fastest production Corvette ever. And in Euro performance, BMW has announced plans to bring the M5 Touring stateside. This 717 horsepower wagon is capable of 3.5 second 0 to 60 sprints, made possible by a twin-turbo 4.4-liter V8 paired with an electric motor. Expect the M5 Touring to start over $120,000 when it arrives this fall. Ford has been on a roll with recent refreshes, now extending to the Bronco Sport Utility and Maverick compact pickup. The Bronco Sport sees an available Sasquatch package, providing even more off-road capabilities. Meanwhile, all Bronco Sport interiors are enhanced by a 12-inch digital instrument panel and a 13-inch infotainment screen. As for Maverick, the big news is the newly available all-wheel drive hybrid powertrain. The 13-inch infotainment screen is also standard here. A new Lobo grade arrives with a lowered street truck appeal. No extra power from the 2-liter EcoBoost, but additional components bolster its autocross abilities. Expect both Ford refreshes to start arriving later this year. Lastly, Volkswagen has confirmed pricing for the upcoming ID. Buzz EV microbus, starting at $61,545 with destination. Prices climb from there with the launch-exclusive First Edition starting just over $71,000. And that's it for this week's Motor News.
This 2024 Nissan Sentra may look familiar, as we just tested it at the end of our 43rd season. Well, Nissan said we could keep it for a little longer, and we gladly accepted. We certainly have some plans to roll up the odometer from the just 500 Motor Week test miles on it so far, and because of that, our fuel economy picture is still being painted. So far, we've observed 28.4 miles per gallon. We fully expect that number to climb close to the EPA estimated 33 combined rating now that our road test crew is done flogging it for performance numbers. And those numbers were gathered from this 2-liter inline-4, sending 149 horsepower and 145 pound-feet of torque to the front wheels through a now quite refined CVT automatic. While not the peppiest powertrain, it, combined with the sport-tuned multi-link rear suspension, makes the Sentra a very enjoyable partner on the daily grind. So far, driving this Sentra has been quite pleasant. The steering is light, the ride is comfortable yet confident, but for me, it's these seats that Nissan does so well. They're supportive in all the right places, and they hold up nicely on long trips. It's a nice touch of class in this segment of sedan. In all fairness, the Sentra is meant to be an affordable, practical daily driver. Not only does it accomplish that, it goes well beyond thanks to an interior that one of our testers says punches well above its class. And the 8-speaker Bose sound system is an audible cherry on top of this compact sedan shortcake. We look forward to living with this bona fide daily driver, and we'll be sure to keep adding up the miles. But first, we'll hit you with an update on our resident adrenaline pumper, the Kia EV6 GT, on the next Motor Week long-term road test update.
Recently, we put to the test A Porsche 911 GT3 with a dealer-installed upgrade engineered by the folks at Manthey Racing. Their expertise harnessed the power of the wind to make that GT3 stick to a track like never before. Well, thankfully, Porsche isn't confining all that aero goodness just to the 911, as a Manthey kit is now available for the 718 Cayman GT4 RS. Time for us to hit the track and get a grip. You don't have to drive this Porsche 718 Cayman GT4 RS with the Manthey kit on a racetrack to enjoy it, but we highly recommend it. High-speed track time is what it's built for after all, as the Manthey kit is all about doubling the amount of road gripping downforce in a car that already felt glued to the track. The added pieces for making all that downforce pressure are obvious. Dive planes ahead of the front wheels, an extended splitter up front, and of course you can't miss those big aero discs on the rear wheels. The rear wing is 3.4 inches wider, has larger side blades, and more adjustability. The bodywork back here getting some structural enhancements to handle the additional downforce pressure. Unlike the 911's Manthey kit, here in the 718 you also get a suspension upgrade. That includes a special inverted coilover setup with lots of adjustability. Without doing a direct back-to-back comparison, it's hard to say how much more proficient the Manthey kit makes the already very impressive GT4 RS, but here around the 2-mile road course at Dominion Raceway, it definitely felt stiffer than we remember the last GT4 RS being. But with this car, that's a bit like comparing a razor blade that was used once with a brand new one. Is the brand new one sharper? Yes. Are they both insanely sharp? Yes again. Fortunately, Porsche did just such a comparison, and the Manthey kit made GT4 RS 6 seconds quicker around the Nürburgring. It felt so stiff at Dominion, we found it best to stay off the apex curbs, as they tended to shoot us back onto the track rather than letting us shortcut. The Manthey kit does not deliver any additional power, but the 493 horsepower and 331 pound-feet of torque coming out of this naturally aspirated 4-liter Boxer 6 is more than adequate. With many cars, you can debate whether they sound better inside or out, but there's no contest here. Inside is where it's at, with the 4-liter nestled directly behind you, blasting an endless rush of percussive sound that is music to our ears. Around the track, the PDK did its PDK thing, which is basically staying one step ahead of us by always being in the right gear, so we just left it in auto. And to give us the best possible performance platform, Porsche added the Manthey kit to a GT4 RS equipped with the optional Weissach package, which uses additional carbon fiber and titanium to reduce weight. Upgraded steel brake lines are also part of the Manthey kit, and the brakes performed as admirably as we expected. Fantastic amounts of feel with no fade, but getting on them hard into corners really requires a firm grip on the wheel, as those front tires are being shoved into the pavement so hard they're grabbing every track flaw with intensity. Track compound brake pads are an option if you plan on using your GT4 RS strictly for track days. The Manthey kit adds $53,946 onto a GT4 RS's $167,495 base price, meaning you're in for at least $221,441 before installation fees, Weissach package, or any other upgrades. So it really is only worth spending that kind of cash if you're truly obsessed with making your GT4 RS a standout on the track and the street. You could spend a lot of time and effort turning your Porsche 718 Cayman GT4 RS into the ultimate track weapon, or just turn to the folks at Manthey Racing who've already put in the hard work and know a thing or two about creating race-winning Porsches. You could say that's taking the easy way, but we'd say it's taking the best way.
Well, that's our show. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, for more Motor Week, including daily news updates, podcasts, and even complete episodes, cruise on over to pbs.org/MotorWeek. And I hope you'll join us next time for our retro-styled coupe backed by modern performance, the Nissan Z Nismo, followed by a midsize hobby hauler, the Mazda CX-70. Till then, I'm John Davis. We'll see you right here on Motor Week.
To learn more about Motor Week, television's original automotive magazine, visit pbs.org/MotorWeek.
The Motor Week app, which includes our latest reviews and feature stories, is now available for mobile devices.
Motor Week is proudly sponsored by Auto Value and Bumper to Bumper, a nationwide network of stores and shops providing major brand auto and truck parts and service from coast to coast and in your local community. Service is the difference. We get it. Learn more at autovalue.com and bumpertobumper.com.
TireRack.com is proud to support Motor Week.
And now, a very brief history of TireRack.com. First there was the wheel, then the tire.
We'll call it Tire Rack.
40 years later, we're not slowing down. TireRack.com.
This program was produced by Maryland Public Television, which is solely responsible for its content.